Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Gabby. I hope you guys are doing so well. I want to share a secret to career success that I never hear people really talk about. And I think the secret is going to charge you up, get you excited, get you motivated. So if you're curious to know what I'm talking about, then tune in to the video. So often people reach out to me, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube, about how nervous they are, how scared they are about not having the right experience or not having the right background or even the right temperament. Some people who have certain personality traits, or maybe they're struggling with certain challenges or mental health struggles. I don't want to minimize any of that because all of that is important, it's real, and it's going to affect how you approach life and how you approach your career. Kind of with all that in mind, I just wanted to talk about what I see as one of the big areas that helps people to be more successful in their career. And of course, you can define success however you want. It's very different from person to person. But in order to have a career, or let's not even think about it just in terms of career, right? But to do work that is purposeful and meaningful to you. In order to really do that, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. You have to take on challenges that you may not feel ready for. So one thing that I'm starting to realize and really starting to notice as I get older, a lot of people, they don't really take chances. That's the truth. They have aspirations, but they're too afraid to ever take any moves on it. So they stay within their comfort zone. They do just enough and they're just kind of skating by, not really taking many chances. If you are that person who isn't afraid to stand out, isn't afraid to let your voice be heard and to push yourself outside of your comfort zone to try new things, you're gonna be one of the few. That's one thing I'm realizing. We all have a voice. We all have something to say. We all have very interesting and important knowledge and experience that we've gained, but we may be afraid to put that forth and to really share it with the world. Maybe we're afraid of being judged, or we're afraid of being ridiculed and made fun of, whatever the reason is. So if you aren't afraid to stand up and tell your story and to say, hey, I'm ready for this new challenge, opportunities are gonna just start presenting themselves to you. And I talked about this in my video about why more social workers need to get into macro, but macro social work does require some leadership skills, and it requires you to use your voice and to stand up for what you believe in and to challenge yourself, to push your boundaries of what your comfort zone is. And I feel like that's one reason social workers shy away from more macro social work, because they feel like they aren't good enough or aren't smart enough or whatever to excel in these roles. When really the main difference between people who do macro social work, or not even just macro, but people who take those bigger steps towards career success, whatever that may look like for them, is because they just had the guts to do it. And not that they weren't nervous about it or didn't go through a period of unclarity or uncertainty. They definitely did, but they were okay with that challenge and decided to push forward. A lot of people, as I mentioned, they're afraid of challenge. Right now in our world, there are so many large problems happening, and to solve these problems we need great ideas. We need people who are not afraid to share those ideas and to voice their opinions about things, and we need people who aren't afraid to express leadership and bring people together around a common cause and communicate with different people, no matter what their leadership title is or how high in the hierarchy they are. You know, we're gonna need people who aren't afraid to do this work. And a lot of people are afraid to do this work. So if you just act with courage, act with bravery, and push past your fears, that's a big way to reach career success in whatever area that may be. So let's talk about a few ways that you can practice being braver in your career. One way is to know that nobody really has it all figured out. Everybody, even those in those high leadership positions, they're just learning day by day, trying things out to see what works, to see what doesn't work. And sometimes they're living by that well-known phrase, fake it until you make it. That's really the honest to God truth. These people in those higher roles that maybe you want, they're no different from you. They're no different from me. They're normal people who weren't afraid to take a chance. I have had the opportunity to work really closely with leaders in their prospective spaces. I've worked with executive directors, CEOs, all of these people that other folks may look at and be a little bit intimidated by. But once I started getting to know them, I realized that, they have fears and struggles too, just like all of us. They're not perfect. And that's really been inspiring for me to see, because it just shows me that no one knows everything and we're all just figuring it out as we go. So if one of your fears about reaching the levels in your career that you want to reach is that you don't feel like you're ready or that you know enough, it's okay. None of us do, and that shouldn't stop you. So go ahead and apply for that job that you don't think you're qualified for, and you'll figure it out as you go. Something else that you can consider when you are trying to be braver is that everyone has been new at something, right? Whether it's an entry-level job, an intermediate one, or one that's super high level, or if you're going into entrepreneurship, we've all been new at these things, right? We've all been new entrepreneurs, new managers, new coordinators. So don't be afraid about coming off as incompetent to your colleagues, because they've been in your situation before. Yes, maybe now they're doing awesome at their job and they just seem like they know everything and they're so much better than you, but they probably have been working in that role for 5+ years. So you can't really compare your beginning to where they are right now. So when you're starting a new role or a new challenge, just keep that in mind. Also, something else that can help you to be more open to taking chances and to be braver is to take calculated risk. So before you go into that challenge, think about all of the risk that could come up and, the issues that may arise, and start considering how you can mitigate those risks even before you jump into your challenge. For example, let's say that you really want to get into entrepreneurship, but one thing that you're afraid of is being overworked, overburdened, and not being able to do all the work by yourself. So one thing that you can do is go online and check out different websites that can allow you to hire some temporary help or some contract workers to come in and assist you. Even before you launch your business, you can be doing this to figure out how you can mitigate that risk of feeling overworked and like you can't keep up with the workload. If you're worried about getting the word out and getting clientele and customers, that's an important fear to have. Don't just sweep it under the rug, but maybe you want to try to build your social media presence or your email list so that can be one risk that you don't have to worry about as much. So these are just some examples, but taking calculated risk and considering the different obstacles that you may have even before you enter into that challenge could be a way to just make you feel more confident in what you're going to do, because you're not just jumping into it, but you're going into it strategically and with your mind wide open. Another way you can be more brave in your career is by practicing bravery and using your voice, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone in small ways. Once you do this, what's going to happen is that you're going to start to build confidence, and this confidence will really impact your overall self-esteem and how you look at yourself. Maybe right now you see yourself as someone who doesn't take risk, or, someone who doesn't really challenge themselves or go outside of the box. But after you start doing small things to challenge yourself, you're going to start seeing yourself as someone who takes challenges, as someone who has courage, and this is going to help you with everything in your life. So one example I can give is that, a few weeks ago, I went to Colorado and my boyfriend talked me into doing zip lining, and it was like really high in the air. There were mountains around and we were ziplining over trees, and it was just very, very scary to me. And I almost said no because it was just way too much and I was freaking out. But last minute, I decided to just go ahead and do it because I wanted to challenge myself to do something that was nerve-wracking to me. And even though that's like something small and it has nothing to do with my career, it does push me to see myself in a different way. So now I'm able to see myself as someone who can feel some type of fear or nervousness about a challenge, but still open my heart to it and put myself all in it. Because not only do our thoughts impact our behavior, but sometimes our behavior can impact our thoughts as well. If you're having some issues with not looking at yourself as being, a super brave person or a confident person, just start challenging yourself in small ways so that it can help you to really build that confidence that can help you with your career and everything that you want to accomplish. So in the comment section below, let me know if you guys have challenged yourselves lately. Have you pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone, or have you done something that you didn't think was possible? Drop it down below. Okay, so the last tip that I want to give on being braver when it comes to conquering those obstacles that stands in the way between you and getting to your ultimate career goals is reflecting on your fear, really considering where it comes from, and if the reason you fear things actually is valid, or is it just a story that you've been telling yourself? And if you do this, you may sit down and realize that some of your fear comes from a mistake that you made when you challenged yourself in 9th grade. Maybe everybody laughed at you and they made fun of you, and it just really stuck with you and prevented you from really pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. So right now, as an adult, probably, I'm assuming, you have to ask yourself if what happened during those early years in your life matters today. You probably don't have your classmates around who's gonna point and laugh anymore, or you're probably much stronger than you were when you were in school, so you could probably handle it better anyway. Anyway, the benefit of analyzing your fear and considering where it comes from and why it's there is that you can sit down, reflect, and come up with ways that it may not actually be true, and it's something that you no longer have to hold on to and let hold you back. Oftentimes, our fears are based in irrational thoughts, stories that we have been telling ourselves for years. Stories like, oh, I'm a woman, so I can't be a leader, or I'm dumb, so I could never get that kind of job, or I'm too ugly to be an entrepreneur. Whatever these false stories are that we've been telling ourselves can hold us back. And if we don't sit down and really think about where those stories come from, they can keep us back for the rest of our lives. They can keep us stagnant and afraid to move forward in the directions of our goals. So just to kind of wrap everything up, I think the secret to reaching your goals is to be courageous and not to be afraid of going outside of your comfort zone, and to be seen, to be heard. There's so many people who have this fear and it holds them back. So if you're one of the few people who has these fears, but just push them to the side, look them in the face, then you can actually see a lot of success in whatever area you ultimately want to go in, or whatever work that you want to do, whether it's career, entrepreneurship, just your overall life's work, whatever. Because we need people who are going to be courageous, even if they feel fear. Society needs these people because, as we all know, society has some big problems that need to be solved, and we need people who are brave and courageous enough to step up, bring their full selves, and help out. All right, you guys, so I hope this video gave you something to think about. I hope it was inspiring nonetheless. If you have something that you want to add to the conversation, drop it in the comment section below. And if you have any thoughts on bravery and what it takes to reach your career goals or your personal goals, I would love to hear about them. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Give this video a like if you liked it. And on that note, I will talk to you guys in my next video. See you later.